Welcome into the Big Chiefs Show, post-game show. The Kansas City Chiefs it's easy for me to say, just took care of business against the New York Jets. A lot closer than I think a lot of us expected it to be. 23-20, the final score. And, of course, Pat Mahomes, much to the chagrin of bettors everywhere. Shout out to my boy Chad Martin. Does the Jerick McKinnon slide right there inside the 3-yard line and gets the first down, puts the game on ice, and secures the victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. 23-20, a game that a lot of us did not expect to be as close as it was. Didn't think the Chiefs defense was going to make Zach Wilson look like Aaron Rodgers tonight, but that's exactly what happened for big parts of the game. Then, of course, you got bailed out by a fumble there in the fourth quarter, and that pretty much put the game on ice. The Chiefs were able to kind of, pretty much run the clock out and put that drive together. Would have scored, but at the very least, look, I get it. It's only week 4 of the NFL season, and I think we were all expecting for this Kansas City Chief team, especially offensively, and this group of wide receivers to, put it together, get things together, start to build chemistry with this offense. And again, let's give the Jets defense credit tonight for a team that dropped, that fell 17-0 to start the game. It looked like the Chiefs were going to run away with this thing, and then the safety happened there in. Was it late in the first quarter, early in the second quarter, and that was really what kind of changed things, I thought, from just from the entire game, right? I mean, at that point, you gave Zach Wilson a little confidence. He moves the team down. Should have been a touchdown there. Then they get the field goal, bring it 17-5. Then they get a touchdown. I mean, hell, and next thing you know, it's 17-12 going into half. But, the takeaway for me, while, yes, the defense didn't look great, and, of course, huge shout-out, the big ball, game ball goes to one Isaiah Pacheco, had himself a ball game today, 158 yards of total offense. He pretty much was the game, pretty much was the entire offense today for your Kansas City Chiefs. Pat Mahomes, and, I was talking to my boy Henry Thomas during parts of the game today, just didn't look right. And, yeah, he did Pat Mahomes type stuff in the fourth quarter and in the second half. They're showing the big play, the big run there that he had. They gave him a first down, and, of course, I think it was a holding penalty on the defense that they ended up tacking on 5 yards there that gave him a big 3rd and 20. But, it just right now there's too many times where – And I said this a few weeks ago, and when you play defenses like the Jets, and of course, right now I think the defense that jumps out to mind is the Buffalo Bills, because again, they looked absolutely incredible today against the Miami Dolphins, taking care of business 48-20. But I think what's going to happen if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, I tweeted this out, and find me on Twitter at the Freddy D, both on X as well as Instagram. And I'm not saying anything that's really all that profound here, but I mean, look, you're going to have to go get help for Pat Mahomes. There's, Rashee Rice. Yes, he's going to have moments throughout the year where he's going to flash. Sky Moore, once again, was an absolute, did outside of a little pop pass, end around run, was again a no-show today. Let's pull up some stats here real quick. Let's see. We're going to show this screen real quick. Share so we can get a look at some of the stats here from today. But you look at what they did today. Pat Mahomes, 18-30, 203 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. That's not going to get it done. But again, when you're playing an offense like the New York Jets, who really, again, you got everything out of Zach Wilson that you could possibly ask for. I mean, he looked like a capable quarterback today. He went 28-39 for 245, but of course had the big fumble there at the end that kind of put the kibosh on any kind of comeback that they had. But I mean, again, Isaiah Pacheco was your main guy. Travis Kelce, kind of a pedestrian, 6 catches for 60 yards. After that, Isaiah, 3 for 43. Noah Gray had the 1 touchdown. Didn't hear from him the rest of the game. Rashee Rice, 3 catches for 32. Of the 2 catches that Kadarius had, one of his was a pop pass. So outside of that, he was nothing. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, once again, did nothing today outside of draw a penalty. No, I don't even, that was him that drew the penalty. Or was it? Yeah, he did draw the penalty, if I'm not mistaken, there in the fourth quarter that helped prolong a drive. But outside of that, I mean, Justin Watson had that one little pass in the flat. Sky Moore, 2 targets, no catches. And again, this is a guy that, 4 games through the season, you're sitting there kind of wondering, questioning yourself, like, what exactly is he going to do? When are you going to get something out of Sky Moore? Because, again, for the 4th game now, outside of week 2, he's been an absolute no-show through 4 weeks of the season. So, again, right now, of the 18 passes that Pat Mahomes completed today, you had 3, 5, 6, 7 to a wide receiver, and of those, one was a little pop pass, right? So this is where we're at right now with this Kansas City Chief offense. I mean, I think the book right now, or kind of the scheme right now, if you're playing the Chiefs, is double Kelsey and make the rest of the wide receivers beat you. And you knew that going into the season that was going to be the case, and it certainly was the case again tonight. And you saw a Chiefs offense where several times you had Pat Mahomes just back there, basically just running around trying to make something happen or wait for somebody to get open. And again, I get it. The Jets have one of the better defenses in the NFL. They were very inspired tonight. It's amazing to see what this defense can do when you give it some rest. I said that from the beginning of the year, that I thought this Jets defense was going to be something special. Maybe they build off this. We don't know. But as for what the Chiefs brought to the table tonight, just, again, an underwhelming performance for a team to jump out to the 17-0 lead. It looked like, okay, these guys are going to run away with this. This offense is going to get on track. You're going to see some big numbers tonight. At the very least, you're going to see some consistency from the offensive side of the ball. And after that 17-0 lead, they score 6 points the rest of the way. Okay. And again, they could have scored a touchdown there at the end. Pat had a wide open touchdown there. But again, I get it. You're going to, run the clock out, call it a day, be done with it. I get that. So no one's going to lose any sleep over that. But again, just an overall pedestrian performance tonight. 2 just terribly thrown balls, and for the picks that Pat had. And let's call it what it is. If Sauce Gardner doesn't get what was kind of a ticky-tack holding call, that'd have been a 3rd pick, right? That'd have been a 3rd pick for Pat Mahomes tonight. So again, not the best performance out of him when we look at what they did. Defensively, Drew Tranquil led the team in tackles tonight. He had 8. Our boy Chris Jones, he did get the sack. I will say, George Karlaftis, again, getting to the quarterback, having a hard time bringing the quarterback down. Had it 3 or 4 times tonight where that was going to happen. Mike Dana had some opportunities to get to the quarterback tonight. Actually, was right in Zach Wilson's face on that big play to Alan Lazard. You're just wondering, like, okay, why? Kind of like easing up, pulling up a little bit. It's kind of like, all right, what are we doing here, fellas? That's got to be better. L'Jarius Sneed, good, not great tonight overall. But I think the biggest takeaway from tonight for me is, once again, there's a couple takeaways tonight. Let's call number one. Number one, once again, the Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers were an absolute no-show and were abysmal from start to finish. Number two takeaway from tonight, Jawaan Taylor. Wow, my man. Okay, so all right, and look, I have every belief that Jawan's going to get this figured out, but another rough performance tonight. He had the holding penalty that really kind of, like I said, got everything started for the Jets when they had that holding penalty. And kind of curious why the Chiefs didn't challenge that play. What was it? And I think it was Andrew McCauley, whatever the dude's name was. The ref on NBC tonight. It looked. I mean, look. If the play is when it starts, when the face mask start, the face mask clearly started before the Jet defender got into the end zone. I mean, I didn't know that. Are we grading when the face mask goes from obvious to egregious? I don't know, but I do know that Jawaan Taylor, again, did the face mask regard what one way or another. It was a face mask, right? So again, gets the short end. Got the short end of the stick as far as it shouldn't have been a safety, should have been a face mask there at the 1 yard line. Regardless of that, another rough performance for Jawaan Taylor tonight. Had a couple holding penalties, had the face mask. So again, through 4 games, I think he's now at 9 penalties accepted, which leads the National Football League. Okay, so a rough go for Jawaan Taylor. And this is a guy that you gave $80 million to, all right, and looks atrocious right now as your right tackle. Donovan Smith didn't look terrible tonight. Then, of course, you had another terrible holding penalty against Trey Smith on a big play that to Travis Kelce that would have gotten inside the 10. Again, they were able to cash in, but again, little dink-dunk penalties like that. Week 4, we'll take it. So number one, again, things that kind of takeaways for me. Number one is wide receiver group once again looks terrible. All right. Brett Veach, what is he going to do about this? Look, he's got to do something. All right. He's got to do something. Now, I've said it on Twitter, and I've seen a lot of other folks start to pipe in about this, about, do you go get, would you kick the tires with the Atlanta Falcons on Kyle Pitts? I mean, you'd be silly not to. All right. It's a phone call. All right. You call the Atlanta Falcons, you ask them, because right now he's a disaster in Atlanta. Now, he's a number 1 pick from 3 years ago, so you got to believe that the asking price would be high, but at the same time, too, you might also argue, too, look, the guy was a 1,000-yard receiver his first year, has done diddly squat the last 2 seasons, and is on pace to do nothing again this year. Granted, Desmond Ridder sucks. And you're asking yourself, what the hell's Arthur Smith doing? Nobody knows. But that being said, I don't know. Apparently, NFL Network put out a story or put out a tweet a couple of days ago saying that when they asked if Kyle Pitts was on the block, they laughed, and apparently they said, LOL, not happening. So whatever that means. But that being said, you throw a second-round pick, a third-round pick. I mean, I don't know. I'd be cool with the Chiefs offering a second or third-round pick for Kyle Pitts. Number one, you got no tight end coming up after Travis Kelce. And let's call it what it is. Travis Kelce, and look, this may be blasphemous to say, Travis Kelce, to me, hasn't looked great this season. All right? Maybe it's a little bit of the bone bruise kind of, maybe that's lingering a little bit. It is a knee injury. He is 34 years old. I'm not going to get into the whole Taylor Swift distraction thing. I don't think that's really a distraction right now. I mean, it doesn't look like his head's not in the game. What it looks like to me is, I don't want to say Father Time's caught up. I'm not going that far because, again, he's still putting up numbers. I mean, he was their leading receiver tonight. Let's see here. He was the leading receiver tonight, which, really ain't saying a whole lot when you look at what they got going on right now. 6 catches for 60 yards on 9 targets, okay? So, again, from that standpoint, it's not like he's fallen off a cliff, but it just a little bit to me, again, and again, this may be blasphemous for Chiefs fans out there, but he looks a step slow right now, all right? Again, could be the knee bruise, could be that he's 34 years old, but I'm just saying – 87 doesn't have that same little wiggle that we're used to seeing out of him. Maybe it's going to, maybe this is going to be kind of an ongoing thing. And let's call it what it is too. Doesn't have a lot of help out there right now. So that also looks, look, defenses are zeroing in on him. Not to say that they haven't been doing that for the last, 7-8 years, but it's a lot easier to kind of forget about Travis Kelce when you've got other guys that you have to consider, right? When you have a Tyreek Hill, when you've got, hell, who thought we were going to be missing Juju Smith-Schuster the way we have this year? You know what I'm saying? Even though Mecole was good for only 4 or 5 games a year, I never in a million years would have thought that I was going to say that the Chiefs miss Mecole Hardman. But dare I say, right now, the Chiefs look like they miss Mecole Hardman right now. So I get it. We always like to say in Veach we trust, and I'm going to stick with that. October 31st is the trade deadline. Shout out to my boy Chad Martin for giving me that little nugget of information, which would put it at that's 4 weeks away. So you figure we're in week 4. So week 8, right? So week 8 is going to be the deadline. And, you start looking at where teams are at right now. I don't know that you're going to see a lot of moves right now. Because, again, it's only week 4, right? We just finished up week 4. You got Seattle and the Giants tomorrow. So you got to think that I would expect week 6, week 7, when you can start to expect maybe some serious conversation going on about whether or not the Chiefs are going to make a move. Or, what players are in play for the Chiefs to make a move. Now, let's go to some standings real quick before we get into the rest of the day. Defensively, and we'll get to the defense here in a second, but I want to look at a couple things real quick before we delve back into some of the stats here, because look, I think the biggest takeaway for me right now is something has to be done on that offensive side of the ball to help out our boy Pat Mahomes, because right now he looks like a quarterback lost. You look right now, all right, I don't see, Cleveland. I mean, look, Cincinnati's in a bad way right now. Who'd have thought they were going to start the season 1-3? But you look at right now, Tennessee. I mean, look, the AFC South right now, the entire division's at 2-2. But one of the teams that we talked about, and I was tweeting out about this during the game. One of the guys. Hold on a second. We got the doctor chiming in. Dr. Corey Minke, huge fan of the program, #1 fan of the show. Kelsey's knee is not completely healed right now, but he needs the reps, especially with the atrocious wide receiver core the Chiefs have right now. True words have never been spoken, Dr. Minke. I couldn't agree with you more. And right now, here's the problem, okay, is that you can't sit Travis Kelce right now, okay? That's the issue, is you can't put him, if you had a legit, because let's think about this, okay? We were hoping that Noah Gray would take a step forward this year, okay? He really hasn't done it. He is what he is. He's a number 2, number 3 tight end. And again, let's be real for a second. I mean, we've been so spoiled with what we've seen out of Travis Kelce, right? So no one, and I said this before the season started, when especially, and look, I've been saying this before the season started, that I thought that Noah Gray needed to be one of the guys on this receiving core that really needed to take a step forward, okay? And then, of course, we lose Travis Kelce for the first week, so we're thinking, okay, is 83 ready for prime time? I'm going to go out and say no, he's not, okay? He's good in that number 2, 3 role, but that's the problem with this entire Chief receiving core, is everybody is in that 2 or 3 spot, okay? Kadarius Toney, for as excited as we got about him last year and for the speed that he's got, and he was going to be a poor man's Tyreek Hill. No, he's just poor, okay? That's all he is. He's just a poor Tyreek Hill is all Kadarius Toney is. He's got a little bit of wiggle, but he's not reliable down the seam. He's not reliable as a go-to wide receiver, just on the field. And let's not even get into what he doesn't bring off the field and the fact that you're just waiting for that next injury to happen. So Kadarius has been a huge disappointment both on and off the field this year. All right. Sky, I don't know who's the bigger disappointment, Kadarius or Sky Moore. Kadarius, I guess you could say it's 1A, 1B. All right, because at the very least, you thought with Kadarius, okay, injuries aside, but even when he has been healthy, he's given you nothing through the first 4 weeks. Sky Moore might be even more disappointing, though, because, again, he doesn't have the on the field or he doesn't have the off the field stuff. He's been healthy the entire time. He's in year 2 of his of being in this offense, and he was supposed to be kind of a Wes Welker / Julian Edelman type, okay? Outside of being a wide receiver, that's the only thing that he has in common with those two guys, all right? Because he has done nothing out of the slot. They've tried moving him around. They've tried putting him in motion. And outside of the little gadget plays here and there, he's brought nothing to the table through 4 weeks. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, look, love what he does for the community. Super nice guy. He's been a bum all season long. Let's take a look at let's just real quick. I want to take a look at the standings so far when we look at what the Chiefs have done. Let's see. Chiefs stats 2023. Here we go. Chiefs player stats. Dun, dun, dun. All right. So, and these haven't been updated yet, so we'll have to just kind of take those with a grain of salt right now. But look, let's go. Let's just say going into it right now, I mean, look, let's call it what it is. And again, there's only 3 games played on here, so we don't have the most up-to-date stats right now. But I mean, look, let's call it what it is. Sky Moore, 0 catches tonight. All right, so he's still stuck at 7. Justin Watson, 8 catches. Okay, right now, your best wide receiver. Okay, the best wide receiver that the Chiefs have is rookie Rashee Rice. Okay, that is the best wide receiver you have. And once again, he led the team tonight with, he was a leading wide receiver anyway. Had 3 catches, if I'm not mistaken, for I want to say it was like 39 yards or something like that. So that's where we're at right now with your Kansas City Chiefs. We'll take a look one more time. Here we go. Bear with me, folks. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Go ahead and leave a comment if you want. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel while you're here. We'll go ahead and, like I said, we're going to go ahead and bring up some stats. How about the Raiders, by the way? Just when you think the Chiefs, look, if we feel bad about our situation, imagine being a Raiders fan right now. Holy mackerel. They're a disaster. I would look. As much as Devontae Adams would look great in red, and I would immediately call for Richie James to give him number 17 because why not? I don't think it's going to happen because I just don't see any way that the Raiders. But you know what? The Raiders would be stupid enough to trade within the division. Okay, Mark Davis and the Raiders front office is that ignoramus that I could see them trading within the division. It doesn't make any sense, but look, if anybody's stupid enough to do it, it would be the Las Vegas Raiders. So yeah, Rashee Rice was your leading wide receiver tonight with 3 catches for 32 yards. Rashee Rice, now I will say this. If he can stop dropping the football, all right, and they talked about a little bit about tonight, he does have the best catch and run ability of anybody of any of the wide receivers. I mean, he's. I tell you what, when that dude catches the ball, I tell you what, it's a pistol coming out of there. Is anything going on with McKinnon? I don't think so. I really don't. I think it's as much about tonight. Look, tonight you could tell the Chiefs made a concerted effort to get the ball into Isaiah Pacheco's hands. Right? I think there was no question about that. And look, Corey, I think it's as much about right now. The Chiefs are doing everything they can to try to mix in or try to get as much chemistry as they can with this group. And I think part of it is that maybe, look, again, I didn't think we were going to miss Juju Smith-Schuster this much. But I think part of the problem is that, it's become check down city. And part of what made McKinnon so valuable and so open last year was that he was able to exploit the check down, right? This year, you're not able to exploit the check down as much because you're having to check down to wide receivers because guys aren't getting open, so they're having to come back to the ball and instead of having a wide open McKinnon, now you've got Sky Moore hanging around, you got Rashee Rice hanging around, you've got Justin Watson hanging around, and then of course the story of the preseason, Justin Ross is nowhere to be found, which I think that just speaks to he's just not ready for prime time. And maybe he's still battling injury, or maybe there's something about what he's doing that the Chiefs aren't seeing enough of to put him in on a regular basis. Okay, so from that standpoint, when I think about tonight's game, I do appreciate the fact that the Chiefs did make a concerted effort to run the football. I will give them that. It looked like a much better running effort tonight, but there were times, of course, where the offensive line just got blown out. But again, let's not mistake this too. The Jets do have one of the best front sevens in all football. And again, when they're not on the field for 45 minutes of the game, you saw tonight how good they can be. But at the same time, too, you saw how good Patrick Mahomes could be when he absolutely needed to be. Defensively, like I said, the defense did what they needed to do. They bowed up when they absolutely had to. Something to be said for that. Again, no Nick Bolton. He missed the second game. Drew Tranquill, though, I'll tell you what, for as much maligned as Jawan Taylor has been, and we could give our boy Veach a lot of crap for, that move. And again, I firmly believe Jawan Taylor is going to get better as the season goes on. All right. I think part of it is it's a different scheme for him. And I think part of it is right now is that, look, when you're in Jacksonville, no one gives a shit. Okay. No one, what do you play? One game. What do you play outside of a Thursday night game? You ain't play no national TV games when you're in Jacksonville. All right. He's been on, I guarantee Jawan Taylor has been on national TV more times this season with Kansas City than he probably was in the first 3-4 years of his career with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay. Obviously, that opening night put the spotlight on him, and the spotlight has not gone away yet. Okay. Part of that is, I think, is a byproduct of just this Chiefs offense has been scuffling all season long. And so when it scuffles, the proverbial when it rains, it pours. When you've got a very poor offensive performance, guess what? You're going to start nitpicking. You're going to start looking at things. And I think right now, he's overcompensating. I think he knows that the pressure's on him. And let's call it what it is. You were the big signing, okay? You were the big signing this season for the Kansas City Chiefs. You got rid of Orlando Brown. And I'll tell you what, shout out to my boy Donovan Smith. Good, not great when it came to some of those toss plays to the left, but no holding penalties for him tonight. And for the most part, did his thing tonight. So hey, Donovan Smith, much maligned the last couple seasons, had a rough couple games, the first 3 games of the year. Tell you what, big number 79 went out, did his thing tonight, played pretty dadgum well. Offensive line, I thought, played okay. Good, not great, once again tonight. But again, I'll live with that when you're talking about one of the better defensive lines in the National Football League. But more importantly, they came to play. They came and did their thing. They absolutely needed to. I mean, again, the play that when he scrambled that 3rd and 20. I mean, hell, he had what, 10 seconds back there to run the ball. And I think part of it is too is look, and you saw this tonight. Mahomes is used to getting rid of the ball quickly. All right. Right now, he can't do that with the group that he has. So again, something's going to have to give when this thing's all said and done tonight. So I fully expect that to change as it goes on. But like I said, we got 3 or 4 weeks before the trade deadline. Real quick, let me see one other thing. We're going to present one more time. Let's look at the. Let's look. I want to show you all the. Let's show this real quick. Is this it? Yeah. All right. So let me show this, and we're going to go back to the standings real quick because I want to see something for y'all. All right, real quick. When we look, like I said, Tennessee Titans right now, and the reason why I brought this up real quick, AFC South. We're looking at potential trade partners right now for the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, look, Denver's a shit show. I just don't see them trading within the division because I think Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy would look real good in Chiefs uniform right now. Tennessee Titans, the reason why we bring that up is we know that our guy D-Hop is playing over there. 2 catches for 43 yards today. You can't tell me he's happy with the decision he made. Yes, he got paid, but you got to think for a guy like D-Hop, he wants to, he's got good football left in him. You got to believe that he wants to play with a real quarterback, not somebody like a Mr. Ryan Tannehill. You add, and by the way, a guy like a D-Hop would change the entire focus and or the entire rhythm of this offense because the one thing that DeAndre Hopkins is good at is getting open quickly. All right, he might be the best 10-yard and in, 10-yard and out wide receiver in the NFL. I get it. He's getting a little long in the tooth. But for an offense that likes to get rid, for Mahomes who likes to get rid of the ball quickly, there's very few guys in the NFL that get open as quickly as a D-Hop does. He would add a element to this offense that, they've had before, but right now they certainly don't. Again, going to have to wait and see what Tennessee does, though. That's the real question there. We kind of need Tennessee to keep losing games today. Didn't expect them to win against win against Cincinnati the way they did today. They took care of their business. So we got to wait and see kind of how that whole thing plays out. Giants are sitting at 1-2. Going to have to kind of wait and see what they do tomorrow, even though I don't know that there's really anybody on that roster that you're really thinking too highly of. Right now with the Chicago Bears, I don't see the Packers trade getting rid of anybody. The Vikings, they're not going to get rid of Jordan Addison. We know they're not going to get rid of Justin Jefferson. The Chicago Bears, two people on that team that I would take one for sure I'd take a long look at, and I've said it on this show before time and time again. DJ Moore is somebody, had another good game today. I think he had 131 yards and a touchdown, 7 or 8 balls that he caught tonight. So he's a guy that I would like to see. Of course, then you would ask if you're the Bears, he's for an offense that's been, you think we're scuffling. How do they feel in Chicago right now? You take him away from the few weapons that our boy Justin Fields has. But again, Ryan Poles, former Chiefs guy, so you think maybe there's a chance that he might be willing to trade with his former team. Have to wait and see. Tampa Bay, they're a team, and of course Chase Claypool. I'd be curious to get your guys' thoughts on if Chase Claypool is a guy that you would want to take a flyer on. Kind of, war's welcome out there in Pittsburgh, and then you look at, it's been a disaster for him in Chicago right now. One of the guys, my boy Chris Boren, me and him were tweeting back and forth today about, is he a cancer in the locker room? Look, the whole entire Chicago roster, you could argue that entire organization is a cancer right now. Okay, so I don't know. I would be, for a 6th or 7th round pick. Are you going to tell me Chase Claypool, who, by the way, has been, if I'm not mistaken, has been a 1,000-yard receiver in his first or second year in the league? So Chase Claypool is another one of those guys that, he's got more pelts on the wall than anybody that outside of Travis Kelce right now. Okay, and if you don't think after going through what he went through in Pittsburgh, all right, because when he was playing with the 1 year he did play with Big Ben, he put up numbers. Suddenly, quarterback goes away. Now, all of a sudden, he sucks again. Then he goes to Chicago. Guess what? He's got no real quarterback there. Sucks again. You put him in an offense where suddenly he's got Pat Mahomes to throwing to him. You might see a different Chase Claypool because, again, as I've been told time and time again by professional athletes, if guys have done it once, they can do it again. And as Corey alludes to, big-time receiver, great size and hands. Yeah, Claypool's a big dude. Chase Claypool's a big dude. And look, not to say that the Bears ended up giving up a first-round pick for him. Not that smart, but I'm just saying you could do a lot worse. If you're telling me that the Chiefs only had to give up a 6th or 7th round pick to get Chase Claypool, sign me up. And then last but certainly not least, we talked about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Would they be a player? Would they move Mike Evans? Of course, I don't think anybody expected them to be 3-1. We've already talked about the aforementioned Kyle Pitts with the Atlanta Falcons. I think that's a lot. I think that's a big ask because, again, I think basically, again, you're talking about a guy that's only in his 3rd year in the league. And like Chase Claypool, although he didn't have the head case issues or he hasn't been in the media for not getting the ball, that might be what we need. We might need him to have a meltdown in a presser or something like that, maybe in a press availability this week to get him out of there. I don't know who his agent is. Wouldn't hurt to throw out a trade leak or say that he's unhappy. Wouldn't hurt, just saying. New Orleans, I don't know if there's anybody on that roster. I mean, look, they're not giving up Chris Olave, and I don't know that Michael Thomas is somebody that this stage of his career that you really want to, mess with anymore. And then, of course, you look at the NFC West. I mean, the Rams, they're not. I don't expect them to dump anybody. Seahawks, I don't expect them to get rid of anybody. I don't know if Arizona has anybody that you want to begin with. So it'll be real interesting to see maybe a Rondell Moore, but I don't know that he's gonna. I don't know that he's blowing up anybody's skirt at that point. So it'll be interesting to see what Brett Veach does. Tampa's record is hurting KC right now because, again, they're sticking around a lot better than I think people expected them to. Although Mike Evans did get hurt today, we need them to lose a couple games and get out of playoff contention. But again, that's why I don't think you're going to see anything right away. And of course, look, the Chiefs aren't going to start. I don't see them trying to make any moves this week anyway, unless it's just Chase Claypool. And let's not forget, too, let's look at the Chiefs cap situation. It's not like the Chiefs cap situation's in great shape right now either. So it'll be really interesting to see how all that plays out. Little Topo Chico for you kids scoring at home. All right. Last thing, and then we'll go ahead and sign off. Let's see. Chiefs let's see. Who Chiefs coming up? Let's see. Who we got coming up? Let's see. Take a look here real quick. All right. So you handle your business. You're at the Vikings next week. Okay. So we will see the aforementioned Justin Jefferson next week. So that'll be fun to watch. That'll be on CBS 325 here in the Central Time Zone. Then, of course, after that, you've got and then you've got a Thursday night game against the Broncos. I did, and I'm kind of licking my wounds on this. I did say that I thought that the Chiefs would lose to Denver at Denver. Of course, I thought they were going to be a lot better too. So, obviously, your boy dead wrong about that. So you got the Vikings. You're at the Vikings on Sunday. That's a game you should win. The Vikings defense is atrocious. All right. So you should take care of business there. I think the biggest thing, look, let's just call it what it is. Brett Veach, you got your work cut out for you. Okay. Brett Veach, you got your work cut out for you, homeboy. Okay. But let's call it what it is. Over the next 4 weeks, you've got the Vikings, a winnable game, Broncos, winnable game, Chargers, and both the Broncos and Chargers are at home, both winnable games. And then you're at the Broncos again before you go play the Dolphins in Germany. So I expect something. I expect by the time they play the Broncos, I fully expect by the time they go to play the Broncos in Denver this October 29th, I fully expect that the Chiefs will have made a move for another wide receiver by that time. So, look, bottom line is this. A win's a win, folks. A win's a win. It looked a little precarious there for a minute. It looked a little touch and go. Sometimes you got to win ugly, okay? Sometimes you got to win ugly. You won ugly today. You won ugly. You won without Pat Mahomes playing his best football game, and you won with your best wide receiver being a rookie with 3 catches for 32 yards. That's where the Chiefs offense is at right now. Kelsey's going to do Kelsey, 6 catches, 60 yards on 9 targets. We know what to expect out of him. But at the same time, Rashee Rice was your best wide receiver tonight, and that includes the drops. MVS, a no-show. Sky Moore, a no-show. Kadarius Toney, a no-show. Justin Watson, 1 catch for 5 yards. That's where we're at right now with this Kansas City offense. Defensively, you made Zach Wilson look like a legit quarterback for a moment there. Again, he reverted back to form there towards the very end. As Corey alluded to, though, let's put some let's take some solace in knowing that while you didn't look great throwing the ball tonight, I guess we do need to commend the fact that they did look good running the ball for a change tonight. And of course, you could argue, well, he did have some negative plays, but he also had some big runs too, and he had big runs when it mattered. And I'll say one more thing too. How about our boy Harrison Butker? Okay, Harrison doing Harrison-type things. Granted, those were gimme field goals, 237-yard field goals and a 26-yard field goal, knocks those through. And then how about our boy Tommy Townsend with the flowing locks on the free kick after the safety, boots it into the end zone and gets a touchback on a free kick. So once again, Chiefs special teams living up to the hype. Maybe the 2 best kickers in the National Football League. When Butker's healthy, I don't know there's a better kicker. That's right, Justin Tucker, a little long in the tooth. Give me Harrison Butker all day, every day. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank you guys enough for your time today. Dr. Corey Minke, as always, best chiropractor in America, in Align Chiropractic. If you're in the Phoenix area and you got your back feeling some type of way, go see my boy Corey Minke. He's going to get you taken care of, right? Hell, I don't care if you're anywhere in the state of Arizona. Go see my man. It's worth. I mean, maybe your back's going to hurt by the time you get there. Corey's going to make sure you feel good by the time you leave. Be sure. Oh man, hold on. Lux Life with the comment. Oh man, he saves the best for last tonight. Hold on, I gotta get this up there for everybody to see. Hold on a second. Should have been a Jets win. That's the first thing. No, that's the second thing he said. So refs sold that game right. Well, look, Lux, first of all, appreciate you chiming in, my man. Number one, look, do you have a legitimate gripe? Was that a holding penalty on what should have been a pass, on what should have been an interception? Okay. Might have been. Who knows? I don't know. I would have been upset. I know I would have been upset if I was a Jets fan when I saw that play. I thought it was ticky-tack. I'm not going to lie. I thought that was a ticky-tack foul. I really did. But, hey, you know what? That's what they called, and that's the way it works. Now, that being said, still could have stopped him. You had a couple other plays. You had a couple other third downs that you could have stopped him on. So, again, Jets had some opportunities there. You don't like it, Lux? Get them off the field, okay? Your boys played well tonight. But did the refs sell that game? No, they really didn't. Should the Jets have won? Could have, might have. Okay. When you hold Pat Mahomes to one of his worst games statistically of the Chiefs era, yeah. Randolph, great point by you. Calling the Chiefs for safety, Bull never should have counted. Okay, so you could make the argument on one hand, Lux doesn't like the pass interference call. I get that, but on the same token, we could all argue that should have never been a safety. Okay, and you wonder if that safety doesn't occur. Okay, that it's 4th down, they're putting out of their own end zone. Okay, and of course we'll never know. Maybe there would have been a penalty or block. Who knows? But let's just say they punt the ball out. All right, and then next thing you know, Jets are playing from the 50 again, and it's still 17-0. All right, still a goose egg. So that's again. So that's football is a funny game, right? It's a game. We know it's a game of inches. We know it's a game of momentum. How one game can flip the entire script, and we saw that again tonight for the Jets. Let's see. The helmet twisted in the end zone, though. Look, I get that, right? I get that, but the way it was explained by the ref, okay, was that when the holding starts or when the face mask starts, and the face mask clearly started before he got into the end zone. Now he held on to it through the play and then twisted it in the end zone, but the actual the penalty, the inception of the penalty started in at the 1 yard line. Okay, but look, we're over here. We're arguing semantics. Okay. Randog makes another good point. Bogus call. Horse collar should have never been called. So don't cry, Jets fan. You lost. Well, look, fellas, it was it was a tough game. Hey, real quick, by the way, shout out to the Astros. If you guys don't know, I'm located here in Houston, so big win for the Houston Astros today. They win the AL West. So just a little side note. I want to say the Royals won today. How about that, huh? Anywho, look, guys, I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in today. Make sure you tune in next Sunday. We'll be here, and of course, we'll be on again on Wednesday. I'll have my boy Chris Hodge on during the week, and then, of course, we're working on some guests. So make sure you check out the Big Chief Show. We do usually 2 or 3 shows during the week as well. Also, too, we got some news coming out this week about the show. We're looking forward. Randog is a Swiftie for sure. Hey, look, man, could be worse. Could be worse. Go subscribe to the Chiefs channel, okay? Chiefs Studios on YouTube. Be sure to give us a follow at the Freddy D on both Instagram as well as on X, Twitter, whatever the hell you're calling it. And then, of course, be sure to follow Chiefs Studios. Go follow my boy Tab, eSIM Studios as well. You will be glad that you did. Big shout out to my boy Corey Minky, the best chiropractor in the world. Shout out to my boy Lux Life and Randog. Look, that's the beauty of football, is we can all talk shit and be friends when it's all said and done. Want to thank you guys all for tuning in today. It's been a lot of fun. Sorry to the Jets fans. Look, at the very least, if you're a Jets fan, you know what you can take away from this. Your defense came to play, and guess what? You saw probably the best Zach Wilson you've ever seen in his 3 years as an NFL quarterback. So there's something you can build off of that if you're a Jets fan, and certainly if you're a Zach Wilson fan. So anywho, thank you guys so much for tuning in, everybody, for Corey, Randog, Lux Life, for all the folks over at Chief Studios. I'm your boy, Freddy D. H-Town, Kansas City, and all points in between. You know we love you. Peace. Be safe out there.